On June the 14th, 2026, American musician and internet personality Oliver Tree was in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil during the South American leg of his world tour. Known for songs like Life Goes On and Cowboys Don't Cry, Tree had built a huge following through his music, videos, and his strange online persona. But that Sunday morning, his name was suddenly being reported for a very different reason. Two helicopters collided in mid-air over Rio's western zone, sending wreckage down into the city below. One aircraft crashed into a car dealership parking lot, triggering a fire among parked vehicles. All 6 people on board the 2 helicopters were killed. Within hours, the crash was making headlines around the world, because one of the people killed was Oliver Tree himself. But how did the 2 helicopters collide in clear daylight? What was happening in the moments before impact, and could the disaster have been avoided? Well, let's talk about it. This is the Oliver Tree helicopter disaster. Oliver Tree Nickel was born in Santa Cruz, California in 1993. Before most people knew him as Oliver Tree, he had already spent years making music under different names, experimenting with electronic music, alternative rock, pop, and comedy. By the late 2010s, he had started to break through with a style that was hard to separate from the image around it. Bowl cut hair, oversized clothes, strange music videos, and a public persona that often felt half serious and half ridiculous. But behind the jokes, Tree was a real musician with a large audience. His debut album Ugly is Beautiful was released in 2020, followed by Cowboy Tears in 2022, which proved very popular. As his career grew, he also became more connected to the influencer and online celebrity world. In 2023, he collaborated with YouTuber KSI on the song Voices, which helped push him further into the UK and YouTube audience. He also appeared on the Logan Paul Impulsive podcast, where his awkward, chaotic interview style fit perfectly with the strange public character he had created. These appearances gave him a much wider audience than many artists in his genre. Part of Oliver Tree's appeal was that he did not fit neatly into one category. He was described as a singer, rapper, producer, comedian, and filmmaker, and his work often mixed emotional lyrics with absurd visuals. To some people he looked like a joke act, but to his fans that was the point. Underneath the costumes and characters, many of his songs dealt with loneliness, failure, growing older and trying to move on. By 2026, Tree was still touring internationally, and in June of that year, that tour brought him to Brazil. He had performed in Sao Paulo on June the 6th, and in the days that followed he remained in the country, sharing clips from his time there online. One of his final posts showed him playing football in a Brazilian neighbourhood the day before the crash. By that weekend, he was in Rio de Janeiro with a small group of other creatives. Among them were Argentine YouTuber Gaspi, Argentine filmmaker Lucas Vignale, and Brazilian music producer Lucas Chaves. On the morning of June the 14th, the group boarded a Bell 206B at Jacapauga Airport, and they were on their way to Angra dos Reis, a coastal area southwest of the city known for its islands and beaches. The aircraft was being flown by pilot Alexandre Souza. At the same time, another helicopter was also in the air. The second aircraft had taken off from Santos Dumont Airport and was being flown by Charles Marsillac, who was alone on board. I will quickly state there are conflicting reports of where the 2 aircraft set off from, but this is the most accurate and factual according to Pilot Debrief on YouTube. The collision happened at around 8:59 PM in the morning. The 2 aircrafts had been using similar helicopter routes and were flying at coinciding levels. In simple terms, both helicopters had ended up in the same area of the sky at the same time. From the ground, the crash happened pretty suddenly. The 2 helicopters collided in midair and fell towards the city below. One of them came down into a BYD car dealership, where electric and hybrid vehicles were being stored. The impact caused a fire that spread quickly throughout the lot and destroyed around 20 cars. The other helicopters fell roughly 100 meters away, leaving the wreckage scattered across the area. Firefighters and emergency crews rushed to the scene, but the damage was catastrophic. Officials also said pieces of the wreckage had been thrown towards nearby residential and commercial buildings because of the force of the collision. All 6 people on board were killed. Oliver Tree, Gaspi, Lucas Vignale, Lucas Chaves, Alexandre Souza, and the pilot of the other helicopter Charles Marsillac. No one on the ground were reported to have died, but the crash happened in a busy part of Rio on an ordinary Sunday morning, so the scene easily could have been worse. Within hours of the crash, reports began spreading across Brazil and then around the world. At first, the story was already shocking on its own. 2 helicopters had collided over Rio de Janeiro in broad daylight, killing everyone on board. But when the authorities and news outlets began naming the victims, the crash became an international story. For fans, the news was difficult to process. Oliver Tree had just been posting about Brazil only days earlier, and the contrast between those clips and the reports now coming out of Brazil made the crash feel sudden and unreal. One day he was on tour, sharing moments from the road, and the next his name was appearing in reports about a fatal helicopter collision. As often happens after a major disaster, social media moved faster than confirmed information. Clips and images began circulating online claiming to show the collision, but not all of them were real. Fact checkers later found that some widely shared helicopter crash videos were actually from older incidents, including a 2024 helicopter collision in Malaysia, and had been falsely linked to the Rio crash. That made the first few days even more confusing, as genuine updates mixed with reposted footage, rumours, and speculation. Official tributes soon followed. Warner Music Group released a statement offering condolences to Oliver's family, friends, and team, as well as the families of everyone killed in the crash. Other musicians and public figures also paid tribute, whilst fans filled comment sections with messages of shock, grief, and disbelief. But even as tributes continued, the central question remained unanswered. How had 2 helicopters ended up colliding over one of Brazil's biggest cities? The question would fall to Brazil's aviation investigators, who began examining the routes, altitude, radar visibility, and communication between the aircraft in the moments before impact. The investigation began almost immediately. The Brazilian Air Force confirmed that CENIPA, Brazil's Aviation and Accident Investigation Center, would handle the technical investigation, with CERIPA, the Regional Service for Investigation and Prevention of Aeronautical Accidents, sent to the crash site. Their first task was to preserve the wreckage, document the damage, collect evidence, and begin reconstructing how the 2 helicopters had collided. Rio Civil Police also opened a separate investigation and requested forensic examinations, whilst the National Civil Aviation Agency of Brazil began checking the status of the aircraft and the pilots involved. The preliminary report said both flight plans used Rio's special helicopter routes, which are designated corridors designed to organise helicopter traffic around the city. The 2 aircraft were also flying at compatible levels, meaning the investigation quickly centred on how both helicopters ended up occupying the same area of the sky at the same time. Radar became one of the most important details. The Eurocopter was tracked from its departure at Santos Dumont Airport until shortly before the collision, but the Bell 206B was not detected by radar during its route. Without a clear radar track for both aircraft, investigators had to rely more on flight plans, GPS data, radio records, witness footage, and the position of the wreckage. Weather also did not appear to be a major factor. Conditions were considered suitable for visual flight rules, meaning the pilots should have been able to navigate by sight and maintain separation from each other. There was no indication of rain, fog, or poor visibility. The aircraft themselves also had limited recording equipment. Neither helicopter carried a flight data recorder or cockpit voice recorder, as they were not required to. That meant investigators had no black box record of cockpit conversations, warnings, or the exact decisions made in the final seconds before impact. Investigator Alan Luxardo later said police were examining whether responsibility could lie with one of the pilots or with air traffic control. In other words, they were looking to see if it was human error, whether one aircraft was not where it was expected to be, whether one pilot failed to see the other, whether communication had broken down, or whether the air traffic system had failed to detect the conflict in time. As of recording though, the investigation is still ongoing. The preliminary report has not named a final cause or assigned blame. For now, we simply just have to wait for more information. After the crash, conspiracy theories quickly spread around online. Some people pointed to the fact that Oliver had recently spoke about leaving Atlantic Records and was going to release music independently, and tried to connect that to his death. Others focused on his music videos, especially the darker imagery in the scenes where he appeared to foreshadow his death, arguing that it all felt too eerie to be a coincidence. But there is no evidence that Oliver Tree was murdered, that his record label had anything to do with the crash, or that the videos were anything more than part of the strange visual style he had used throughout his career, so I again will state these are just rumours. Because of Oliver Tree's fame, his name dominated much of the international coverage, but as I stated before, there were 5 other people on board that day. Each of them had their own career, family, friends, and community behind them. Gaspar Diaz, who went by Gaspi, was a very successful Argentine YouTuber. He was widely celebrated across the internet for his raw, street-level journalism and edgy, uncomfortable street comedy. Lucas Vignale was an acclaimed Argentine filmmaker, director, and screenwriter based out of Buenos Aires. He was highly regarded as a rising star in the South American independent cinema scene. Early in his career, his short film La Paysanne won the prestigious Stimulus Award for Argentine cinema. Lucas Chaves was a highly talented Brazilian music producer. In the context of the accident, he was serving as a vital local production liaison, helping to curate events and logistics for Oliver Tree's first promotional world tour. He was known within the local industry as a dedicated and immensely creative force behind the mixing boards. Unfortunately, I could not find much information on the 2 pilots, Charles and Alexandre, but I am sure they are deeply missed by their friends and family daily. In the weeks after the crash, Oliver Tree's body was returned home to California. A post shared through his official account said, "Rest in peace Oliver Tree Nickel," and confirmed that a foundation would be created in his name to support young artists, something his team said had been written into his will. The message also thanked fans, friends, and collaborators for the tributes that had poured in after his death. On July the 25th, a celebration of life was held in Santa Cruz, in Oliver's hometown. The service was a closed, ticketed event for friends and family, but it was also live-streamed for his fans. Oliver Tree was only 32 years old. His death cut short a career that was still changing, still touring, and reaching new audiences. For his fans, he was not just a viral musician or an internet character, he was someone who made people feel less strange for being strange themselves. May everyone who died in this incident rest in peace. As always, this is not an AI channel, I do everything myself, so if you appreciate my work, subscribe, and if you want to go that extra step to support the channel, maybe consider becoming a member. Let me know what you thought about this case in the comments below, and as always, thank you for watching.